He stood there in the courtroom, tall, calm, wearing an old, faded military jacket that had seen more battles than anyone in the room could imagine. His name was Daniel Ross, a single dad, a Marine veteran, and the kind of man who didn't speak unless it mattered. Across from him, sitting with smug confidence in an expensive suit that probably cost more than Daniel's entire life savings, was Vincent Crane, a billionaire real estate mogul, known for his arrogance and the way he treated people like disposable tools. Today, they faced each other not on the battlefield, but in court, a place where power often overshadowed truth. The audience whispered as Vincent leaned back with a smirk. "Your Honor," he said, his voice dripping with mockery, "I can't believe we're wasting the court's time on this man's nonsense. He's just a mechanic who doesn't understand how the real world works." The courtroom chuckled softly, feeding his arrogance. Daniel stayed silent, his eyes calm but filled with something deeper, pain, patience, and unspoken strength. The case was simple on paper but powerful in truth. Daniel had worked as a maintenance supervisor for one of Vincent's construction companies. After discovering safety violations that put workers at risk, broken scaffolds, faulty wiring, and unpaid labor, he reported it. Instead of fixing the problems, Vincent fired him, labeled him a liar, and sued him for defamation. To most people, it looked hopeless, a billionaire with top lawyers versus a struggling single dad who could barely afford a babysitter for his daughter, Emily. But Daniel wasn't fighting for money. He was fighting for honor, something Vincent would never understand. "Mr. Ross," the judge asked gently, "would you like to make your statement?" Daniel stood, buttoned his worn jacket, and spoke softly, "I'm not a lawyer, sir. I'm just a father trying to do what's right. I've seen what happens when people stay quiet. In war, silence can cost lives. In life, silence can destroy families." He glanced toward Vincent. "I saw men risking their lives every day on your sites, working without safety gear because you wanted to save a few dollars. I reported it because I couldn't stand the thought of another father not coming home to his child." Vincent laughed. "Oh please, spare us the military sob story. This is business, not a battlefield." But what happened next shifted everything. Daniel's attorney, a young woman who had taken his case pro bono, stood and walked to the projector. "Your Honor, we'd like to submit new evidence," she said. The screen lit up with a series of photos, images from inside the construction sites. Cracked scaffolding, exposed wires, missing safety harnesses. Then came something no one expected, a video, secretly recorded by a worker weeks before the trial. Vincent's voice echoed from the speakers, "Don't waste time fixing it. If someone gets hurt, we'll just pay them off. Money shuts everyone up." The courtroom fell silent. Vincent's face turned pale as whispers erupted. The judge frowned deeply. Daniel didn't move, he just closed his eyes, breathing slowly, as if releasing years of burden. For the first time, the arrogant billionaire had no words. The evidence was undeniable, the billionaire's own voice had exposed his greed and cruelty. The judge's gavel struck. "Case dismissed. All charges against Mr. Ross are dropped. And Mr. Crane, I'm forwarding this evidence to the district attorney's office for criminal investigation." Reporters flooded the hallway, shouting questions as Daniel stepped outside. But he didn't stop for cameras. He just smiled at his daughter waiting on the steps, her little hands clutching a drawing that said, "My hero, Dad." She ran to him, and he lifted her up, whispering, "We did it, sweetheart. We told the truth." Vincent exited moments later, surrounded by chaos. His empire, his image, everything he built on arrogance, began to crumble publicly. For the first time, he wasn't the most powerful man in the room. Truth was. Weeks later, Daniel went back to work, not as a mechanic, but as the head of a new nonprofit helping veterans and workers fight for fair treatment. His story went viral, inspiring thousands who had been silenced by fear. Reporters called him the veteran who took down a billionaire. But Daniel didn't see it as revenge. He saw it as redemption. In one interview, a reporter asked him, "What gave you the courage to fight a man that powerful?" Daniel smiled softly. "When you've fought in places where every second could be your last, you stop fearing men with money. You start fighting for what truly matters, people, honesty, and your kid's future." The story spread worldwide, a reminder that humility can defeat arrogance, that integrity can outshine influence, and that even when the odds are impossible, truth finds a way. So, if you're watching this right now, take Daniel's story to heart. Don't let anyone make you feel small for standing up for what's right. Hit that like button if you believe truth always wins in the end, and subscribe if you want more real stories of courage and redemption like this one. Because sometimes, the quietest people carry the loudest victories. And that's exactly what Daniel Ross, the single dad veteran, proved to the entire world.